Oh, now I know what this reminds. It's a Fergie song.
Oh, okay. We're live
yeah.
on YouTube.
Okay.
We're live
You know
on
which one I'm talking about?
It's like, is it London Bridge?
All right, we're done. What is going on?
Yeah, I guess
everyone?
it is London Bridge. Sorry.
Yo.
We're here, episode 69.
Yeah.
Holy crap. We have been doing this for a hot minute.
Oh my gosh, we're at the Tekashi episode.
Yeah, we
Oh
are.
my, yes. Shout out to Kashi69 for any music lovers out there. Definitely appreciate good 6ix9ine song here and there. It'll get you pumped up at the gym. But Ben Ryan Chase here after further review, episode 69. We're back Tuesday, normal time grind. You know, I feel like we all needed this episode. We all were just ready to spew a bunch of just weird, wacky, wild AFR takes. And yeah, I mean, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
So, yeah, on tonight's show, we have semi-loaded thing. Obviously, we're going to have to recap the Celtics taking home their 18th championship. NHL update, because that series isn't over quite yet. Hopefully, you're catching us live because the time this drops on Spotify, you know what? The series will still be going. Yeah. So Oilers will take tonight's Game 5. We have our segment we brought back on this day in sports history, which we haven't done in probably a couple months. Excited about that. Some crazy facts I dug up from the vault for both of you. Some MLB updates because the Phillies and Mets now both playing well. So Ben will have some better takes this week than his raging, pissed, awful takes he usually has about the Mets. Just kidding. They're always good. And a NASCAR update to wrap up the show. So, yeah, I mean, let's start it off. NBA Finals is over. Thank everything that it's over, because, you know, Celtics bring home their 18th championship. That's a league record now. Them and the Lakers were both at 17 since the COVID year, which was also a nice asterisk year for the Lakers. But yeah, honestly, I want to know what you guys think, and then I can spew. But I just want to say this is, I feel like, one of the worst. I was hyping up the NBA playoffs, and then we got to the finals, and then I was just like reflecting on it. And I just feel like this was a horrible year for the NBA in general, and I just feel like the finals.
You're just salty the Celtics won.
Yeah, but I'm watching the games, and I'm like, I'm not even like the Mavs. I'm like, they shouldn't even have been there. Like, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was a weird year. I think
I am very salty the Celtics won.
I agree a little more after watching some of it with you, Ryan. With Luka. Luka's getting a little bit annoying to watch to me. Just like you can hate the Celtics, but I enjoyed watching like Jaylen Brown play versus like Luka. Like Jaylen Brown is, you know, I mean, Luka doesn't play defense. Like he's a liability on the defensive side of the ball. And if you're going to be a number one player on the team, I don't care how good offensively you are, you cannot be a liability on defense. You got to at least be a moderately okay defensive player.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like there's too many times where he wants a call or just flops. Like, he's pretty bad at just wanting the refs to interfere or get a call to help him out. But yeah, sucks that the Celtics got to this point. I feel like they've had such an easy road to get here. It really
one of the easiest.
Surprising. Yeah, this might be the most cakewalk thing ever. But at the same time, you just have to be pissed at all the teams that failed. Like the Bucks, they didn't do us any favors losing to Indiana. Obviously, both of our teams kind of blew each other out, so it sucks for the both of us that happened, because otherwise, if the Knicks would have swept the Sixers, they'd probably go in, beat up on the Pacers, and do whatever they got to do. But still, at the same time,
it was such a dogfight. It was almost like whoever comes out of here is going to be limping. And
it was really death by 1,000 paper cuts. Like there was no way to sustain what we were doing on both ends. The Sixers maybe would have, if they did win, probably would have been the same thing that happened, where they just ran out of gas, no way, no shot. Somehow Embiid gets dinged up even more, and then we're probably at the same position. But
both teams were so dinged up. I mean, it ended up being the healthiest team, won it all.
When in the West was the powerhouse, and somehow the Mavericks came out of that, and I was just like bruh.
We all knew the Suns would choke, though.
I didn't. I don't even want to. Well, my NBA postseason bracket is toilet.
Dude, when the Immaculate Grid in like 7 years, Kevin Durant is going to be like, you could put his name everywhere. Literally everywhere.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. But okay, yeah. I have like four takes after watching. I probably watched the least amount of an NBA finals I have since I was like 10, and I'm okay with it. But I have 4 takes. Take number 1 is Luka Doncic has still to this point proven that he's a regular season guy. You can, as much as I hate to say, you can throw him in the category with Joel Embiid, but James Harden, Russell Westbrook, the players that, can pad the stat sheets all year long, break all kinds of records, but then kind of just deflate throughout the postseason. That's take 1.
Not even as good as James Harden or Westbrook. Doesn't have an MVP yet.
Yeah, and which is kind of crazy.
Yeah,
it's been the big guys running it. But take 2, no matter how bad Kyrie Irving played in 3 out of 5 of these games, he still is nowhere near a choke artist, or however you want to put it. Can't show up in the biggest moments. Basically, erase the slate. His performance was bad in 3 of the 5 games. It doesn't really faze me. To me, he's still one of the clutchest players ever. 3, Jason Tatum is freaking still overrated. He didn't even do that much. I felt like he was the 3rd best player on the Celtics throughout the series. Like, Jrue Holiday did so much around. Obviously, Jaylen Brown won the Finals MVP. To Ben's point, great player to watch. Amazing on both ends. But the fact that the Celtics won it, like, they were the best team in the NBA this year, and they only had Porzingis was beat up, but Porzingis was like your 5th option. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if Kristaps Porzingis is your 5th option, I mean, Derek White, Jrue Holiday, guys like those are championship caliber players. Derek White, Pop just molded him so well. I feel like all those years on the Spurs when he was playing with DeJounte Murray. And I was just like, this guy is going to be so good. And then Jrue Holiday now has 2 championships, and he spent like half his career on the spiraling Sixers in the 2010s. So just it's not like the NFL where you can have like the best quarterback in the league. Like, it just shows you legitimately do need a team. And that's why I'm not going to put as much hate on Luka. He is a regular season guy, but the Mavericks team was garbage. They weren't good. They made a great run, but they weren't good. And the Celtics team, it just pisses me off because it was all surrounded by Jason Tatum. And I'm like, bro, he's on this great team. It helps so much. If he was on a team like the Sixers with Embiid, he probably would be in the same situation as Embiid is in. And so he's definitely gotten more credit. But those are my overall 4 takes. Salty, Celtics won the best ever 18 championship. I looked it up. It's only their 2nd since like the mid 80s. So It's like it's been so irrelevant. And both teams, times they've won, the first time they had 4 Hall of Famers, and this time they're looking at 2 to like maybe 3. Like, they've had ridiculous squads when they have won, and it's only been twice in 40 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I will say Tatum, I think he led the team in points, like assists and rebounds, but
Yeah, okay, I know. I'm hating a lot.
I agree. I'm glad Brown won the MVP. He definitely should have, just based on what he did defensively. So I'm glad that was how that went. But I don't think Tatum played poorly on this team, and they have a gifted team was healthy all year. So. One other thing I did want to say before we go off basketball and dive into a little hockey, super hyped that Dan Hurley rejected a Lakers contract to stay at UConn. That was pretty exciting.
That was insane.
Yeah.
That was insane.
Being a fan of UConn, I love that. That was because I'm sure I can imagine how tempting a job like that is. I mean, that's great money, and not that he's not getting paid well now, but that's
but if you get the coach,
that could be a dream coaching, like that could be a dream job. Lakers, like just so for him to turn that down was kind of lit.
Yeah, I honestly feel like he's not going to get to coach and develop guys as much as he might like. I also think
he might not have wanted to be with LeBron and just deal with that stuff.
I think it's cool because I feel like in college football, you see like the jumping back and forth all the time. Like guys come up and then they fail and they go down. And it happens like a little bit in the NBA. I know Billy Donovan was one guy that kind of bumped up from college. But I feel like your main core of college basketball coaches don't do the jump. And I think it's kind of cool. And it shows how much it affects the team. Like UConn legitimately could be good for the next 10 years because Hurley's staying. And so I'm sure it's cool that I think it's cool he turned it down because I'm with you. I am surprised he did. So
yeah. And what happens after LeBron leaves? Like they're just gonna be probably a middling team. And he's going for a chance at a three-peat, and I'm pretty sure only one person's ever done that in college basketball. So just so much more, control.
Yeah, especially modern college basketball. No, I just feel like it's been just really like it seems even harder to do than it was,
Yeah, and they're making it look easy
20, 30 years ago. So
I think one of their players already returned too.
Did they?
I think.
It's crazy that you can have a women's basketball program that wins back-to-back, and then you have a men's program that does it too. Like that's
the school's like more known for the like ridiculous women's teams, and then now the men's is just going off.
Yeah.
So, all right, should we switch gears here, moving from the wood to the ice?
Yeah,
Oilers. Do they have a shot? I'm hoping that they come back. I think it's happened. Has it happened in the Stanley Cup? Do we know that? Do we know?
Yeah, I think it did. I think that's the one where it happened in 1942 or something.
Yeah. But it has happened it's not like the NBA where you're dead in the water down 3-0.
Right.
Baseball, hockey, it's rare. We witnessed the Flyers chase back 10, 15 years ago now against the Bruins. Down 3-0 and then down 3-0 in game 7. But the scary part is I've watched a little bit and Florida is really good. And I feel like they're hungrier because they didn't win last year. So I feel like that plays a part, kind of like the Celtics in a sense. The NBA and NHL finals have gone like exactly the same. So
crazy.
The Oilers need to rewrite the script. Otherwise, it's going to be over right now as we're recording.
Right.
It also, we could see some crazy, like I'm not the biggest hockey fan, but playoff hockey's fun. Like I will say playoff hockey's fun to watch. I haven't watched a ton of it, but it is really fun to watch. And like if it gets to a game like 6 or something, like it could be some
game 6 in Edmonton.
It could be an exciting it could be a really nice game.
This is it. I'm calling it. I know it's late in the series and it doesn't really matter. I'm calling it right now. If the Oilers win game 5 tonight, they win the series. They will win the Stanley Cup.
I can't say I disagree with that. Like I think too, if they win this game, the momentum's totally on their side. Even though they'll still be down a game, it's crazy because just the way they came out and played last game, it felt like they had so many more opportunities than what Florida had given them the entire series. But sometimes it just works out that you go out and for whatever reason, nothing's working in your favor. So even though Florida was the hot team, they're coming off a loss. I think a lot of the steadfast hockey people right now are pretty certain that Florida's just going to pack this thing up. And I can obviously see why they've been so dominant, but at the same time, Edmonton can really pop off. I'm not going to say they're going to score 8 goals again, but they can throw 4 goals up in a short period of time. Just the way they've always been. They have crazy scoring options. They're deadly. Connor McDavid can do so much by himself.
Him scoring in game 4 was huge, not only for the team, but for himself. I feel like he kind of had that like hovering over him as well, like a second pressure to not only trying to help his team not get swept, but also he hadn't done anything in the scoring category. So a win-win, I feel like, for Connor McDavid too in that sense.
Yeah, he got the monkey off his back, and
Yeah,
I don't know. It's like kind of like in a football game too, when the quarterback gets sacked early on. You're like, all right, whatever. Either he's gonna lock in from this and not let it happen again, or it's gonna be that type of game. And I feel like once he got the goal, he got that in his head where it's all even now, and we'll see. I mean, Bobrovsky's been outrageous this entire playoff run. I mean, he's been super solid, and the fact he got pulled. Maybe it doesn't mean anything to him. Maybe it doesn't. But still, I feel like for Edmonton, you know that you can still get in there, get in their heads a little bit more, and be more physical towards them too. Like I feel like they were letting Florida play to them. And last game, it seemed like they didn't have a problem just laying it back and being more consistent because they literally couldn't even get out of their own zone at sometimes. Like they would pass the puck, deflected, stolen, like. It was crazy how much Florida was stifling them, but
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe we'll see. Florida, I mean, they need to close it out, but
yeah. I didn't realize how good their goalies were. They just to have the luxury of like subbing in. Like I forget, I don't know his name. I'm not gonna even try to.
Oh yeah, Stolars, who used to play for the Flyers, and he was hot garbage.
Yeah,
and Bobrovsky, he also used to play for the Flyers.
Yeah, but to have that 1-2 punch is like, dang.
Yeah.
Just take, they give him a shorter leash.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't. I think the Panthers made a great move because it doesn't hurt pulling Bobrovsky because it's like a half throw in the towel, half let's see what happens. Because if Bobrovsky gets in trouble again, they can pull him earlier.
Yeah.
Knowing you have that 1-2 fire punch. So getting, how did you pronounce his name, Chase?
Bobrovsky or Stolars?
No, Stolars, yeah.
Yeah, Stolars, yeah.
So,
I mean, he wasn't awful when he was with the Flyers. He was just probably just needed time to develop, and now he got that. He played on some harsher teams than even the Flyers since then, and now getting that time under Bobrovsky, who's really become really blocked. I mean, he was literally playing with the Flyers in like 2009, 2010 as a rookie, and he's still going strong.
That's crazy.
That's crazy longevity.
Yeah.
And he's obviously proved he even proved on himself because he used to be a playoff choke artist, and now he's been back-to-back years probably one of the best goalies in the playoffs, let alone regular season. So really good for him. It's cool to see just because of the tie. I mean, I know it didn't work out here with the Flyers, and he had to leave on kind of a bum term, but it's just cool that he's had that longevity, and crazy how it works out that they have that Flyers connection and goalie, and it's been such a problematic spot for the Flyers for so long.
Yeah, we'll see. No, should for sure be interesting, but we can move on. I don't know if our AFR fam at this point remembers or not, but we've done this segment a few times. It's nothing crazy on this day in sports history. It is what the name says it is, but I'm just excited to see what you guys' reaction are. I just picked out, I think, 3 or 4 fun facts throughout the past 100 years or so. And there's actually, I thought there would be more, especially with like the NBA finals and the NHL finals happening at this time, but there wasn't like anything in that. So I don't know if it just happened that nothing crazy on those with those two sports on this day, but let's get into it. And all right, so 4 things. I have two baseball, 2 golf, and just let's see your reaction right this. All right, first one is from 1953.
Okay.
Red Sox rookie Eugene Stevens is the first player in American League history to register 3 hits in an inning as Boston scores 17 runs in the 7th inning when they won 23-3 against the Detroit Tigers.
Jeez.
Yep. First ever player, Stephen's. First ever AL player. I don't know how many players have done it since because that was 53. That was the first time.
It's a pitcher?
Eugene.
Oh, Eugene.
Yes, Eugene.
Oh.
Eugene.
Yes. So.
All right. We'll have to look him up, see if he's a good Immaculate Grid guy.
Yeah.
Maybe he went by Gene.
It looks like Gene Stevens.
So he was a pitcher, and he was the first guy ever to have 3 hits.
I didn't share it. I'll show Chase super quick.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I just thought that would have happened a lot sooner. 3 hits in an inning. I feel like it's not that uncommon, especially
Pretty
I feel
bad.
like
It.
the
He was a
farther
hitter.
back. That's crazy. But yeah, 17 runs in the 7th inning. Eugene had 3 hits.
Dang.
I don't know how many players have done it since, but
This is 1953.
Yeah.
And he hit 204 that year.
Oh my God. What the heck? But
Yeah.
all right. Second one happened in 1960. It was the US Open men's tournament. And at that time, Arnold Palmer, which he only won one US Open, and this is the one he won, he staged the greatest comeback in tournament history. He was down by 7 strokes to Jack Nicklaus entering the last round, and he came back to win by 2.
Oh my god.
Which, first off, I thought, thinking of Arnold Palmer, you think he would have won more US Opens than just one, but I guess when you played at the same time as Jack Nicklaus,
Yeah.
it makes it. But the fact, I'm just thinking down 7 strokes going to the last round is just ridiculous. I don't know if it was more clutch play by him. Yeah, 65. Okay.
Why did Jack Nicklaus get no money, but third place got money?
Oh, I don't know. There's a lot of people tied for third, too.
Yeah, what?
What the heck? And then, anyway, I just was like, what?
So,
Dang, 65. That's on his.
Yeah.
Is that what he got on? Yeah.
Yeah, on the
last
final
round
day.
was 60.
I wonder if there's footage of this.
I don't know. It might have been.
yeah.
1960, you said?
Look how we start. Look at that. Look at this. Look at this 9. 1, 2,
Dang.
4, 5, 6.
That's crazy.
30 on the 9.
Oh my gosh. That's just got to be one putt after one putt after one putt.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah. Wow.
He was locked in.
Yeah, just a wild comeback for a guy who
Yeah.
has a great drink today, but was a
like
great
it.
golfer as well. All right, third in 19. I think this is going to be your favorite out of all of them. So in 1976, do any of you remember who the MLB commissioner was at the time?
Was it Selig?
No, it was Bowie Kuhn.
Oh, okay.
At that time, he voided the Oakland A's, who were trying to sell 3 of their players, totaling $35 million at the time, which included Joe Rudi and Raleigh Fingers to the Red Sox and Vita Blue to the Yankees, and he basically shut it down and made all 3 of those players go back to the Oakland Athletics.
Wait, they were.
Damn,
worth-
so they were just trying to straight up send them for cash?
Yes.
Wait,
What?
so for $35 million? Like that's what they were
Total
getting in
of
return?
$35 million
Oh.
between those 3 players.
What did they want the money for?
I did not look that far into it.
Because isn't first of all, Raleigh Fingers is a Hall of Famer. Isn't Vita Blue or he's borderline?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's really good.
But it's crazy too, because I was like 1976, the A's are still doing A's like things. It's like
Yeah.
just trying to dump their entire team.
Oh my gosh.
Why are they just they're like they are the Cleveland Browns.
It's crazy to me too, because like I feel like the only thing I can remember of something like this happening is when the league shut down the Chris Paul trade in the NBA
Mhm.
to
Oh,
go
yeah.
into the Lakers to play with Kobe.
Yeah.
Dang, Joe Rudy's not a bad player either. I just looked him up. Because I didn't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
who
and I
Joe
think the
Rudy is.
70s. I mean, it just showed Joe Rudy's prime was the 70s, and I feel like
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, he's an MVP. He was a MVP runner-up. He's a what does it say? 3-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glover, and 3-time World Series champ.
it's crazy.
Not bad. Yeah, they just wanted him gone.
Yeah.
They were just trying to tank and get the money.
Yeah.
I wonder if they were trying to build a stadium back then.
Yeah, there's got to be a lot of. I feel like there's got to be like a giant conspiracy, or just a lot of build up behind it. Like I can't even imagine being an A's fan back then. And you find out like they're trying to trade 3 of probably your best players at the time.
You know the other thing that I'm looking at here too, because it says 1976. They made the Oakland made the postseason 5 years in a row before 76. So like, why would they? And back then
Yeah.
too, it was
Yeah.
a lot less. Like,
I wonder too if that was the year that Reggie Jackson left.
they made the ALCS too every year at least.
That's
Oh
insane.
my
They're
God.
like Houston Astros type. team.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. They won 3. That's the 3 World Series. They won World Series 72, 73. Wait, they went back to back. They did a 3-peat from 72 to 74.
Oh,
I did not know
then
that.
they lose to in the ALCS in 75 and just already to
Or does
dump.
that mean? Yeah, I think that means that they won.
Yeah.
The A's beat the Dodgers in '74. Beat the Mets in '73 and 7. Beat the Reds in 7. World Series MVP Gene Thomas. I don't even know who that is. Oh, Reggie Jackson.
Yeah, he was traded in '76 to
fingers.
the Orioles.
Oh my gosh.
That's
So
crazy.
they were literally just trying to blow up their whole team that year.
Yeah, they had some because they had Catfish Hunter on here, Blue Moon Odom. Those are some
Oh
names
my
from our
God.
bracket.
So they were just trying to get rid of 4 people right there. Bang.
We gotta. I'm marking this down as a potential deep dive someday into the
Yeah.
72-74 A's team.
Yeah, I mean, and just how it unraveled. It'd be interesting
Yeah.
to see. Obviously, it was major controversy. I don't know what happened, but
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I watched the Reggie Jackson documentary, he was like talking about it. It was a little bit one-sided though, just because at the time he just wanted more money and stuff like that, which I understand. He was one of the great players in that moment, helping them obviously with postseason success too.
Yeah.
So, and they were just a cheap organization, didn't want to pay anything. So I wonder if they just got so pissed they were like, we're just gonna get rid of this entire team and start fresh. And literally they've done that almost every 10 years since this point.
Yeah.
yeah, it is crazy.
Classic A's.
I just want to see Raleigh Fingers is. I'm going on a little bit of rabbit hole, and I apologize.
Oh, the Raleigh Fingers. So what that year he had a win and 3 saves in his World Series.
Oh,
year.
were they 3-inning saves or just regular saves?
Probably just regular. I don't know. I'd have to look.
Yeah,
he
we have
was
to
the
look back.
leader. He was the leader. So they could be.
It's crazy.
He's
Yeah,
got
I forget how many he had,
Yeah.
but he is the leader in 3-inning saves.
He won the Cy Young and MVP this year with only 28 saves. It's kind of interesting.
Oh, that's you're really getting in there. Okay, last one.
Yeah.
Last one. Back to golf, U.S. Men's Open. The year 2000. Notice you'll probably remember this. Well, at least remember hearing about it. Tiger Woods wins his first U.S. Open, but he won it by a major championship-setting record, 15 strokes. He finished at -12, and the next closest guy was +3. Complete just domination for his first U.S. Open championship. And I feel like he wasn't sweating at all. But also a -12 is ridiculous.
That is insane.
Yeah.
So he was on and no one else was. And
that is absolutely insane.
Yeah. So
I wonder how many times Tiger's won by double-digit strokes.
Yeah.
I know. It's just crazy. I
career.
feel like watching the U.S. Open, this is probably why he got so hyped up. This is his first win.
BJ Singh.
He was.
Lee Westwood still golf.
Some of these guys.
He's still out. I remember he's still out there. He's old.
Ernie
now.
Els.
That's crazy. Getting 112K for you got +7. Like, I don't know. I feel like plus.
I feel like I could hang in there for 112K.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, like what was round 1? What do you got? Like, oh, okay. So the conditions got worse, and then people just started playing. Oh yeah, this is it. Third round.
The third round.
Third round. I don't know what happened, but
He just took off.
holy shit.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Dang.
But yeah.
That was fun.
On this day in
Yeah.
sports history, I feel like it's fun diving in. And that was like one of the things I thought of doing this today. There was obviously no NBA ones, but the Celtics won their championship last night. I was watching, and like immediately the first thing that happens, get like 2 ESPN notifications. First one saying they're already the favorites for next year. Second one, way too early, 2024-25 NBA power rankings. And I was like, they just won. Like, I feel like in the world of sports, like through COVID, especially when it first happened, I feel like we not only experienced like, okay, cherish like the real-time sports, but also it gave us a chance to like watch old games and dive into some sports history. And it was kind of cool. And so I don't know, not that you get into everything with the On This Day in Sports History, but sometimes it's fun just to grab a random day. There's always so much going on. Obviously, you could see baseball was big. It's always big this time of year, but the U.S. Open was too. So,
Yeah, that was awesome. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
But speaking of baseball, I feel like we have to talk about it because now both of our teams are playing well.
I just put it on quick before you go in the O's. The Rickwood game of the minor leagues was tonight. So
I
had that on a little bit just now.
Nice.
But the major league, I think, is the major league game tomorrow or is it this weekend? That's kind of cool. I like that the MLB is doing like these games, like the Rickwood one, like the Field of Dreams game. Those to me are kind of neat. I like that.
Yeah. I'd rather them do that than fly all the way to London and play two meaningless games and fly back.
Yep. No, I totally agree. I would, if like Field of Dreams, if there was Mets Phillies, I'd be in.
Yeah.
Especially or even like when they played at the Little League World Series last year.
Yeah, that's cool. Yep. I agree.
Yeah. So I don't know if we want to talk about the Phillies now, but like I said, they took the trip over and unfortunately had to go on 2 more trips right after that into Boston and right down to Baltimore. And I feel like that really affected them. And we can compare it against the Mets, who I think went just straight home, right, Ben?
Yeah.
After London. Yeah. So
that's true.
And I think you can tell in just the way that the two teams have played what the difference is of just going on the road straight from coming back versus being able to settle back at home and play in front of your home crowd. It just felt like the Phillies were a little bit disjointed and the Red Sox aren't really a great team. Obviously, the Orioles could be the favorites in the AL East, and the Yankees have a great record too, but I think a lot of people are way high on the Orioles into this year compared to what happened last year. So it was a tough matchup. I'm not really even mad that the Phillies lost 2 games. I feel like they could have been playing better, but just considering the circumstances of where they were, if this was a home game in Philly, I feel like it probably would have been a little bit different and just uncharacteristic performances by your stud players, really, this whole series.
Yeah, that was the most shocking to me. Obviously, first off, the game Friday night, game 1 of the series, to me was one of the most, and I missed most of it, but one of the most craziest games of a regular season I've ever experienced. I mean, the back and forth, the challenge coming into the play when Cedric Mullins went home. I think that was at the end of the 9th or 10th. I can't even remember now. Just so much happened. Plays at the plate, basically everything you want. And the extra runner playing a semi-factor, but not as much as normal because they both were able to match in the 10th to go to the 11th. And then you have, things like Zach Wheeler, his worst start since 2018, basically, and his worst start ever as a Philly, I think. So it just, the O's got to him. I don't know if the London thing messed with him too, and he probably has a set schedule on when he pitches and, the procedures throughout the week. So it could have very much played a factor. For me, 1 and 2 is not that bad. I think, Chase, I'm with you. If it was at Citizens Bank Park, they probably would have won 2 out of 3. Taijuan Walker, again, didn't pitch that bad Saturday, but I feel like he's getting the most heat just because the other 4 have been so well. He only has a couple registered losses, and he's been semi-consistent through at least the first 4 or 5 innings. So, of course, they get the loss that day too. But I don't know. It was just a really weird series. The Phillies are still leading the NL East and still one of the best records in baseball. But hopefully now, after the Boston and the O's, they can get back on track. Yeah.
And they get to play the Padres, who have been really struggling.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. And the Orioles also, too, are just a dangerous lineup. Gunnar Henderson is a leadoff hitter with he has like 20 home runs already at this point. Over 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's outrageous. It's pretty insane that he can do that. Not only that, the home plate umpire Sunday sucked ass. I don't know what he was looking at. I don't know where his eyes were, but before that home run ball by Gunnar Henderson, he was out. And it was a missed call. And I don't mean to go back on a play that it's 2020 at this point, but he missed the call. Henderson tees off on him the next hit. And I think from there it was just downhill. They were really never in it. And Rob Thompson was the most lit up he's ever been during a
Yeah.
game.
But is it the first
Yeah.
time he ever got thrown out?
I don't think so. I think he's
Yeah, but that's definitely the most angry I've seen him get.
Yeah, he was hot. Like that was a part of it
Yeah.
too. I was like, what is this? Is such a weird series. I wasn't expecting him to pop off like that.
Yeah, it felt weird, and I don't know. At the same time, there really wasn't a lot of great offense from the Phillies either. It felt like they were scuffling. It seemed like Bohm was the only one who could get a hit when they needed it at that point. So yeah, it's kind of tough. But I think the travel really did them in, and that's a lot to consider to go on a road trip. And we can talk about the Mets a little bit because they've just been going off since coming back from there. And I think going into London was pretty forgettable at that point. So to come back, set themselves up, and just seems like they're playing with a lot of energy now again from the outside.
And real quick, last take, regardless of how bad the Phillies win-loss record was the last week since coming back from London, good news is Schwarber's hitting bombs again, and I still am pissed that he's their leadoff hitter. But it's the whole June thing is like you don't believe it, and then June comes, and now he's been hot. And I saw now he's at 60 home runs for his career in the month of June, which is just wild for a guy that hits like 200. But one bright spot, I know he just hit 2 last night in San Diego, but hopefully he can get going and try to get on base a little bit more than 200 percentage points at the time.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
Yeah, Ben, go ahead. Go ahead, because I know you're hype.
Yeah, no, the Mets, first of all, it's weird. I mean, the NL is in a weird spot outside of like the top wild card. You can look at the standings and it's just a big cluster. You have like 7 teams within a game of each other. So
Yeah,
technically,
that extra wild card spot really.
yeah. So technically the Mets are like, they're still they're in a good spot right now, at least for where they were like a month ago. I mean, their bullpen was just, we almost saw it the second time in the Phillies game. I think this year it's 6 times that they've blown the lead when winning in the 9th inning. Just like, which is just like, it's so brutal. So they finally pulled that one out. But yeah, biggest reason, the London coming back home was huge. The way they won that game was huge. But I think there was a couple of things. First of all, Luis Torrens like emerged out of nowhere as like a suitable like platoon catcher and even guy who can control a game.
Yeah,
and
they were crapping on him when the Mets picked him up. Like I was
Yeah.
watching the London series, and they're like, "Oh yeah, no one even knows who this guy is," and then he kept doing work. I'm like, "What? Why are we trash talking?"
They literally DFA Thomas Nido, who's basically been their Mets backup catcher / with the organization for the last like 7 years because of Torrens. But Alvarez is now back. And to me, no matter what he's doing, if he's hitting, not hitting, they play so much better with him healthy and on the field. They're 17-1 this year when he plays, which is nuts. But he's just like he was their star prospect catcher. As a rookie last year, he had 23 home runs, 24 as a rookie catcher. And he always brings energy and he always brings excitement and enthusiasm to the team, to the locker room. He's always hype. So he's been a big piece that's been missing. And yeah, they just look like they're having fun out there. They're getting quality starts. Severino, who they signed to a 1-year deal, who's pitching tonight. He's got like a 3.1 ERA and he's been fairly good for them and fairly healthy. So yeah, I'm definitely more excited than I was probably a month ago, and this team's definitely showing some life. Lindor's finally hitting again. Everyone's kind of doing that. And last point, I will say, JD Martinez. Without him, he has been so clutch. Probably the Mets' most clutch hitter. Up and down the lineup. It's been huge. Mark Vientos has taken pretty much a third base job from Beatty. And guys
earned it.
So guys are figuring it out. I think Mendoza's figuring it out as a manager too. There's definitely been some questionable decisions when they were on their losing streak, but as long as that back end of the bullpen can get healthy and get back to doing what they were doing before, I like where they are and I like how they're playing. So we'll see. It's a long season. So if they can get to 500 and go from there, that's what I would like to see. Just get to that 500 mark.
So are the Mets back or not until they get to 500?
I'm not gonna say they're back because this whole year is if they're competitive this year, I'm happy because this was not a year they're clearly going for the championship. They have so many 1-year pieces that they could try to flip at the deadline and get more for, like Severino, like I just mentioned. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I mean, Bader could also move, and so I'm excited though. I'm excited to watch fun Mets baseball that's semi-competitive, and yeah, it's always more fun.
And it's crazy that they've had to do this all without Senga, being the way he was last year. So whenever, I guess he's coming back this year, but whenever he does come back, that's a nice boost to the rotation.
Yeah, it was supposed to be late May, and then it got pushed back, and now they're saying after the All-Star break. So hopefully he comes back here soon. Oh, and Vientos just cranked a home run as we're watching this podcast. Just absolutely cranked it. So hitting over 300, he's earned the job. So
yeah,
nice.
Hey, good for
that's
you.
all I got.
Yo, one thing crazy. The Atlantic League. I don't know how familiar people are with it. I don't know if it has a direct relationship with the MLB or not. I know some type of relationship though. But anyways, Hagerstown, Maryland, now has a team in the Atlantic League, the Flying Boxcars, which is just a ridiculously long name. I feel like I don't know. It's just something else. So I went to a game last week. Really cool atmosphere. The Atlantic League was a lot of fun, but I lost my mind because it wasn't like a save situation whenever they were up by like 8-10 runs, but going into the ninth inning, they brought in, I guess, what might have been their closer. They're bad this year, so he doesn't get to pitch that much. And anyways, while he was coming in, they literally played the same song that Nunez has. Like the
trumpets.
Yeah,
that Diaz has?
Diaz. I don't know why he said Nunez. Yeah, Diaz has.
Fuck
I was
that.
like, what the heck?
This kid I umpired a Little League game last week, and this kid used that as his walk-up song.
Is that just a popular song? Like,
know.
I'm kind of gonna be pissed at Diaz then for using it if it's like this common.
I think
song.
it's more popular since he's used it. But
Okay.
Timmy Trump is a semi-popular, I think, but I don't know.
Yeah, he's a pretty big EDM guy. Yeah.
That's funny.
So,
yeah, but I'm excited. Yeah, it's a fun year, and I know the Phillies are really good right now, but I'm excited about the Mets. So going to the July 4th Mets-Nats game. So we'll see how that goes.
Nice.
It's an 11 o'clock game and free Budweiser for everyone. Anyone 21 or older, you get one free Budweiser.
that is clutch.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's like
That's a
their
great
promotion.
deal.
I know. That's their like promotion. I'm like, dang.
Wow. Huh.
No, that's good. But last but not least, I know we wanted to talk about the NASCAR chase. You've been giving us weekly updates. They've been awesome, and I will give you the floor for the Iowa race.
Yeah, and I will try to just get it up quick. If I get it wrong, just let me know.
Okay. Yeah, so this weekend was at Iowa. It was the first time the Cup Series is ran there. It's not the first time that any of NASCAR events have been held there. They've had Xfinity Series and truck races there, but it was the first time the Cup Series had a real race there. Iowa's not a really old track. It's been maybe since like 2006, 2007, I think, but it was really big, and obviously racing is bigger in the Midwest with dirt track racing, so it has a storied history. During the race, though, Ryan Blaney dominated. He had 80 friends and family there. He was just unstoppable. Won stage one, I think, and then won the race overall, and was just really dominant. Our guy Christopher Bell,
I like that.
he was in it. He was in the race. I got to give him that. His car was just not doing what he needed it to do. It was just really bad. Anytime he put new tires on, and he couldn't get it to really get to a spot where he was to really close the gap. I mean, Ryan Blaney was ahead so far during late in the race. It was nobody was going to catch him. It didn't matter if there was an extra 30 laps, 60 laps. It just seemed like the more time was happening, he was just going to get further and further away from everybody. So,
yeah, that gap, that top 4 gap is ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, it's like it was crazy in the race just how far and it just seemed like at will he could move people, even going through traffic, which typically is going to slow you down. He was just able to move cars out of the way and slide past and just get to that point. And really 2 weeks ago, Ryan Blaney, we talked about it, he ran out of gas on the last lap when he should have had a win. So he really should have 2 wins on the year, gets the 1 win, and puts himself in back in position. He's the reigning defending champion, I have to say, for NASCAR this season. So Christopher Bell, obviously still putting in the work. Even though he didn't get the win, he's still being dominant, still showing that his car might be the best Toyota this year and maybe the most consistent one so far in the race. But
the yearly standings.
Yeah.
All right.
Is this it? Tell me if this is it. Is this the regular season?
Yeah, so that's just the regular season points, yeah. And Kyle Larson again, he won a stage again this weekend and unfortunately got tangled up in a wreck early in the race and just kind
of. What matters more, the regular season or playoff? Like which one is it?
Go to playoff picture. All right, so we got one more guy locked in this week with Ryan Blaney's win. So he locked himself into the playoffs. And again, this season continues to be really diverse with the winners. Obviously, we've had people multiple time, William Byron, Christopher Bell, and Denny Hamlin all have at least 2 wins or 3 in those other guys' cases. But still locking themselves into the playoffs. Christopher Bell still maintaining. I mean, fourth position isn't bad, especially considering he's got 2 wins. So
yeah, and one of those was legit. So
yeah, he got the Shiesty Caldo race early in Charlotte win, but the other wins he was dominant in. I mean, he really did have the best car, and I mean, every weekend you can kind of put him in the conversation for finishing first.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I feel like in the beginning of the year, like, obviously it was a sleeper pick you had, younger guy, and like wasn't too sure, but I would say last 5 races, I feel like 1 or 2 wins in that, and a couple of top 5, top 10 finishes. He's super competitive lately.
Yeah, he's really been locked in, and he did have a couple DNFs. He got involved in a few wrecks, but I mean, outside of that, whenever he's been able to keep the car on the track, he's been in the conversation, been there late in the races, and either closing it out or, like you said, getting top 5 finishes. So,
yeah,
I mean, it's gonna definitely be tough with Kyle Larson. He's really feeling every type of car in every single track. So he's really put himself out there. But Christopher Bell, our guy for the season, keeping us in it.
I like it.
Yeah,
maybe he'll get a cash out soon if he just keeps moving up.
I know. I mean, it's really tempting every race, not just to put him in there as like a straight for the race, but it always gets tempting. But I mean, it's crazy. It's been a crazy season so far. You can't take anything for granted, even on the last lap. So I know Bubba Wallace. Yeah, Bubba. Actually, can you go back to the Iowa results up there?
Yeah,
right there?
Yeah.
He did, I think, get a top 10 finish. I think. No, he didn't.
Oh, he's 17.
He was 17th. He was running top 10 for a lot of the day, and I think he just fell out of it. But also, I want to bring up real quick the Stewart-Haas cars. We talked about it a little bit last week. They're closing up shop, but they had 2 guys finish really strong. Josh Berry finished 7th. So he's been continuing to have a really strong season. And I think they had somebody else finish top 20. Noah Gragson finished 16th. So great job for them. I mean, it's tough because they're really running, hoping that someone's gonna just sign them to next year, because otherwise they're not gonna be able to do anything and won't have a ride. And there's still a lot to shake out. We only just got to the surface of it, and it's still hard to really grasp what's gonna happen with it. But Yeah, we'll see. So that was
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Iowa. This week we go up to the Northeast. One of the only times we ever go up to the Northeast, and we're racing at New Hampshire this weekend. Yeah,
The weekend to be up there out of the heat.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I wonder what the temps are going to be like up there.
How often do cars overheat in races? Like that's your reason for not.
Mm,
Is it common?
I
I
don't
mean, I
know.
know the cars are built for it.
Yeah,
But I just wonder, like the heat's so bad sometimes in the summertime. So
yeah. They definitely start to like not throw out. They definitely start to overheat to a certain extent, but I mean, inside the car, it's like 120 degrees usually.
really,
So those guys are just sitting in heat the entire time
do
for
they drink
however long the
water?
race.
They drink. Oh, I guess maybe at the pit
Yeah, they
stop.
have water in there, and then they have a vent through the helmet, but it just kind of blows whatever air they're getting. So, I mean, it
Dang.
probably feels cooled, but it's not like just straight up air conditioned.
Some of their training's probably like with like some hot saunas and stuff. Like
Yeah, they do. I think, you know what's weird? They don't seem like NASCAR guys would be the most fit guys, but they are really. I even remember a guy, Casey Kane. He's a little bit older guy at this point, but I remember at the time when he was racing, he was really big into triathlons of biking and racing and just being fit. And I was like, that seems weird, but when you think about it, your body is going through such a rough 4 hour experience of being at 120 degrees. So the best you can condition it. But yeah, there's definitely times where even they lose like the air in the helmet will just stop or not be blowing cool air, just be like hot air. So you're just stuck in the warmth, and then you're just getting hot air blown on you. And I can't even imagine what that's like. I'd freak out.
Yeah. Like right now, Vogelbach or whatever Ben's favorite Mets guy is. Right now, could he finish a NASCAR race? Could he get
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely bigger. Austin Hill, he's a pretty big guy. Sheldon Creed, he's pretty big. Like there are bigger guys that race that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like I'm trying to think of guys even back in the day who were a little bit bigger, but yeah, I would say they probably classify as heavyweights if they're fighting in the UFC.
Okay.
I respect it.
Yeah.
It is nice. I mean, like obviously there's good. It seems like there's a good bit of diversity in NASCAR in regards to like I feel like baseball's good with that too. Like you can be small, tall. It doesn't really matter how your like height, body weight.
Yeah.
Obviously, like fighting UFC, they have like the weight classes, but I don't know. There's certain sports that you're like the NFL ain't no 5'6" wide receivers ever gonna make it.
Yeah.
But it seems like NASCAR, you have the opportunity if you're a good racer, no matter size, weight. You have the skills.
Even gender.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's female racers, so yeah, it's an open sport.
Yeah.
Most people don't consider it open, but it's pretty open.
Do they have they don't have a women's league? So like if you're a girl and you want to race, you gotta.
I know Haley Deegan.
Yeah, Haley Deegan. Yeah, there's a couple of girls that you can get your NASCAR license and be just totally. I mean, Danica Patrick ran for a long time.
She was. Yeah. I was like trying to think when I was like a kid. I feel like she was like.
She was the first one, I think.
She was like a Nick Kids Choice Award, like athlete of the year.
Yeah. God, she was awful. I don't know if she ever won a NASCAR race. She might have. I'll give her that, but she was not very good.
Yeah. Dang.
But
yeah.
No, I'm excited. Overall, I feel like this was a solid show, episode 69. To all of our viewers out there, whether you're watching live, whether you're listening to this on the playback, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, however you do it, we really appreciate everyone coming out today. We've all been super busy, but we're definitely always going to make time for our AFR fam every week to hop on and grind one out. And reach out. Let us know if you have any favors, any wants, any needs that we need to touch on throughout the summer months. I know it's going to be a lot more baseball, UFC talk here and there, but now we got NASCAR in the mix. You never know. So lacrosse a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Keep you on your toes with our weird, wacky sports takes. So, yeah, and that, Ben, Ryan, Chase, for the end of episode 69. Peace out.
See ya.
Peace.